Hey there, YouTubers, and yeah, I'm back on the internet. I just had a question. Well, it was actually inspired by a chat I had with some friends earlier today. It's late night. My hair's a mess. I don't care. The topic at hand was gun control. And people going crazy about the fact that the government wants to remove their weapons. Now, that being said, I don't think anyone's going to remove anything. I mean, if you look at anything, our government is the one government that looks at every other government in the world. And what do they see? Well, they see terrorism going on in the EU, okay, and going on in Australia. I mean, well, okay, by definition, they didn't call that a terrorist incident, but I see it as a terrorist incident. It was one guy. Maybe he was operating on his own, outside of a huge regime, but he did do it for political views. I consider that terrorism, but what do I know? Now, both of those countries, the EU, as well as Australia, well, I want to say UK, not EU, because I don't know about Germany's gun law or France's gun law. But I do know that in the UK, you're not allowed to have guns. You can't really even have a pocket knife. Okay? I mean, unless you have a work permit to carry that around, you're just not allowed to have it, especially not as a tourist. Or tourist, I'm going to say, not terrorist, tourist. Okay? So, that being said, I don't think anyone's taking anything away from the Americans. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, but Fox says this all the time. It's like, but Fox says a lot of things that it has to apologize for. Several times it doesn't. The reason Fox never apologizes is because Fox knows that anyone who matters doesn't take them serious. And anyone who does take them serious, well, they don't deserve an apology anyway. Because the way they see it is they are smart enough to use your ignorance against you. That's their marketing strategy, and kudos to them. They've been using it very well on people who would take them seriously for a very long time. And, I mean, there's a lot of people who don't believe at all. And they watch Fox every day. They don't believe a word that it said. But they watch it for the satire, because that is what Fox News has become. A beautiful satire of ignorance. Simple. The sad fact is, a lot of people in the US still think it's news. When a long time ago, Fox's whole market was give the people what they want to hear. Not what they need to hear. Now, one thing you'll never see Fox News ever do is criticize something that goes against their bias. Even if they don't really necessarily believe in the opinion. Okay? It's not going to do good for their party overall. Therefore, they won't report on it. Just doesn't happen. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, every news company is biased. Yes, they are. But the problem is, a lot of people take every news company serious. I employ anyone who wants to take everything they hear in the news as fact or truth to not just look at a documentary where someone else does the research. Do it yourself. Research your own facts. Come to your own conclusions. Look at these documentaries for the content that they give you to look at, and actually look at it. But don't take it as fact. What's wrong with you? Anyway, on the topic of gun control. Now, we were in this group talk. I'm not gonna say it was mean or bad or that any opinion was wrong. I will say this. I got the general sense that people in this country fear that the government's gonna take their guns away. Well, let me get down to the brass tacks of what goes on in the government. The government, for a long time, has been using scare tactics. If you know what a scare tactic is, you probably use it every day. You're probably a parent. We do them every day as parents. We use scare tactics or threats. And sometimes those threats have to become promises. However, at first, they are initially just a very, very, very stern threat. For instance, you have a son, maybe he's 8. You have a daughter, maybe she's 4, half his age. Your son intends on beating your daughter with a toy sword that you bought him. Do you go buy him a bigger sword? Or do you commend him on swinging it properly? If you do either of those, please just don't even bother watching this video. This isn't for you. These are for people with half a brain. The chances are that if you're at all any kind of parent that's protective of and loves both of your children, the chances are you're going to take the sword away. Because as punishment for him not using it correctly, you remove it from the situation entirely. This is much the matter with gun control. We've seen a lot of people doing stupid things with guns. And the government keeps saying, look, behave yourself or we're going to take it away. And to that effect, we get extravagantly mad and we pitch a tantrum and we go on tirades and we get the NRA to go crazy and launch video campaigns saying we're going to make an army, when in actuality if we said, no, you don't have to, we'll be alright. I don't think there'd be a big problem. Okay? I don't think the U.S. government wants an occurrence of ISIS to happen over here. I don't think it wants its public to be totally defenseless from defending its country if it needs the opportunity, if it meets that criteria, if it comes to that. You know, say ISIS hijacks a dock somewhere and takes a boat. I don't think necessarily the government here is going to want us unarmed. Simple. Okay? I don't think anyone in their right mind would. I don't think that's a grand scheme of things. For those who think there's a gigantic mass organized conspiracy in the world to eliminate guns or anything, why do you think we go to war? Gun sales are part of the American society. They are. And you know what? Every time we go to war, gun sales skyrocket. They do. Every end of the spectrum, illegal and legal, they skyrocket. Okay? No one's going to take your guns away. Calm down. Now, with that being said, every time someone makes a valid comment about any kind of criticism, instead of turning the other way and not looking at them or saying, you don't have a degree in the topic, why not see the valid points they make, or at least have an intellectual debate with them instead of outright rejecting them? It makes you look like less of a douche, and it makes you learn a little bit of something that you had never taken into account before. And that is how societies get better. That is how people learn from each other. And when societies adapt and evolve in that manner, societies grow. And countries become better places. When you don't do such things, you're part of the problem, not the solution. This is Zinexia 2013, or, well, for some of you, Zinexia, signing out. Peace.